Now, Transport Secretary Patrick McLaughlin has announced that the Transpennine and Midland Mainline electrification projects have been paused due to all Network Rail upgrading projects going over budget. Of course, included in that is HS2, and here to talk to us a bit about it is Joe Rukin, who's the Stop HS2 campaign manager. Good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon.
Well, there have been some predictions that other projects would have to be shelved to make way for HS2, so I take it that today's news doesn't surprise you, or this week's news doesn't surprise you?
Well, no, we've said this right from the start, that other projects would have to get cut because of the amount of money that HS2 was costing. And every time we've said that, is that, oh no, we are investing in the rest of the transport network, and everything's well and rosy. And in public, we've known that the Transpennine, at least, might have been shelved for about the last year, because the Chief Executive of Network Rail was in front of the Transport Committee about a year ago, saying that I can't give you that absolute categorical confirmation that it will happen. Mm-hmm. But the breaking news that we've only just found out about is that the government actually stated this 3 years ago. We've been waiting to get... there's this thing called the Major Projects Authority, and they look into major projects and produce reports. And 3 years ago, they produced a report that rated HS2 as amber red, which means that it was in danger of failing, and successful delivery of the programme is in doubt. And today, while everyone is looking at the Network Rail news, it's top story on pretty much everyone, they've sneaked out this Major Projects Authority report. And the June 2012 one, so 3 years ago, it states that without a comprehensive budget in circulation, it is difficult to have a meaningful discussion about affordability of HS2. The Department for Transport believes, however, the costs of HS2 are so large and over such a long period that it will not be able to afford it alongside all its other likely spending commitments. So they were saying then, HS2 costs that much, we're not going to be able to do anything else. And they sneaked that out today, hoping that no one would actually notice it. But they knew that these cuts were coming 3 years ago. The Transpennine electrification and the Midland Mainline electrification, which will benefit far more people than something like HS2 and cost so much less, that they were going to be sacrificed because of HS2.
There's an argument, though, isn't there, that although HS2 is going to cost a lot of money immediately, it will also bring a lot of money into different economies. Obviously, West Midlands set to benefit to the tune of £4 billion a year, and of course, when the line extends to Leeds, easier travel to Leeds, surely benefiting West Yorkshire as well.
Well, those figures that you quoted, they come from a report that was done by KPMG, who your listeners may know as the people who couldn't find that £1 billion hole in the co-op accounts, or who said that there was no evidence of corruption in the Qatar or Russia World Cup bids, at the same time as working for them and FIFA. And KPMG basically said, they came up with this report that said that the only factor influencing where businesses go is access to labour markets. So so nothing to do with whether they want to be there, whether there's actually anyone with skills there. It's just about access to labour markets, which was completely rubbish. It was decried by top economists as essentially made up, and these figures were completely invented. So all these business benefits rely on a report with a completely untried, untested methodology that we, the taxpayer, paid £250,000 for, that even the person who was the author of the report, Lewis Hatter, when it was in front of the Transport Select Committee, he said, it doesn't create jobs at all. We're just assuming that it might move some around. And that's the thing. When you look at the potential that the HS2 station is going to be at New Lane in Leeds, and not at Central, though there's rumours that they might try and move it to the main station, because then they can put the budget for it onto Network Rail, opposed to HS2, and get it off the HS2 books. But thing is, it will move jobs, so it will suck jobs towards, where the station is at best, definitely at the detriment of Bradford, but realistically, what we've seen from all the evidence from all the high-speed rail networks across the world is that it's just going to suck more stuff to London. You said about the West Midlands, the previous Secretary of State for Transport, Philip Hammond, said it puts Birmingham in Zone 3 of the Underground. All right, not at Zone 3 ticket prices, but that's what you can expect. You can expect these, out-of-town commuter estates to be built round the Greenbelt sites near Birmingham Airport and somewhere between Nottingham and Derby and somewhere a bit south of Crewe. And that's realistically what this is about. It's about solving London's commuter problems for the people who really think they have to work in London but don't really want to have to live there.
Well, certainly
can afford the tickets for HS2.
Certainly HS2 are claiming that there will be some job creation, so we'll have to wait and see, because it looks like, doesn't it, that the HS2 will plough ahead even if there is pause on other projects. What are you hoping to be able to achieve? Do you think there's still a chance of shelving this project altogether?
Well, I think that today we've seen a bit of a watershed, because there are a lot of people in a lot of places, and therefore a lot of MPs, who are going to be very annoyed with the decisions on the Midland Main Line and Transpennine electrification today. And they'll be thinking, well, we could have that if HS2 didn't go ahead. So I really do think that today has potentially proved a turning point in our campaign, because we have always said since the start that if HS2 goes ahead, other transport projects have to be cut. And to date, we've been vindicated. We've been proved right. And there's going to be a lot more people who were supporting HS2, and people in Parliament, most importantly, who were supporting HS2, who are now thinking, well, it was all right when I was getting my electrification or my new station or my new railway line, but now I'm not. I don't really think this is such a good idea.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on the stories that affect so many people in the region here. Joe, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.